Okay. Hi, welcome back to the channel. So, yeah, I wanted to play some other game, but tonight Tamaki asked me to, you know, uh, answer some of his questions. So I thought that let's just make tonight a free talk for AFK Journey, and I do get a lot of things that I want to tell you guys about this game. Like there are a lot of overrated and underrated heroes in this game. You know, like the tier lists are almost totally wrong. So yeah, as usual, you shouldn't believe the tier list. Tier list is always gonna be subjective. You know. Yeah. So while waiting for Tamaki to come online, I do want to tell you guys, like for those of you who just started playing or wanted to play or already playing this game, like there are a couple of things that you need to take note of in this game. Like this AFK progress here is very important. This is like, if you don't have any time to play the game, like for the at the minimum you need to progress through your AFK stage here to the max. Because this is going to snowball for you every day. Like this is your source of experience income. And so try to clear these states as much as possible. And also there is some other thing in here that is going to be important, which is right there. If I lose this, then I'm gonna show you. Yeah, definitely gonna lose this. I don't have enough damage. Like I'm already at the max amount of AFK states that I can clear for today. So yeah, this is too much for my damage. So you see here, when you lose in this game, there are two options here that you can choose: AFK proxy battle request and AFK synergy battle. So make perfect use, not the perfect, make the most out of this synergy battle, because this is going to be your strongest tool in clearing the content of this game, and you definitely need a friend for this. Because synergy battle means that other players can send helpers in the proxy battle. You can deploy an extra hero from helpers in combat. And unlike any other game, especially for those of you who play this light, this doesn't mean to replace your heroes. Because instead of only being able to bring 5 heroes into the battle, you can now bring 6. And that is insanely strong. The difference between 5 heroes and 6 heroes is insane. Like, the state's gonna feel insanely easy if you bring 6 heroes. No matter what kind of heroes your friends lend to you, as long as it's a decent heroes, then it's gonna be extremely helpful for you. And you can deploy double heroes. That means that if you have Chechia and your friend lend to you another Chechia, you can have 2 Chechia. And how insane is that? You can have 2 golems running around in the battle. Yeah. So you can just click here, and then you need to share this to someone who is currently online, if you have them in your friend list. So currently my friend who is online is only 1 here. Or you can just share it into the guild, or team up is in the team up channel, like the chat there. So if you don't have any friends, you can try this too. But if you have a friend that you can share your progress with, then obviously try to call your friends and tell them exactly what you need. Like this is easy. Like I just chat my friend and tell him, okay, for this stage I'm gonna need your Rainer, and or maybe on this stage I'm gonna need your Techia, or like you can judge yourself which heroes you're gonna need. That's gonna help you the most in the stage where you are stuck, and that's gonna help you clear that content. Because usually every 10 stages is where the power spike goes up a lot. So currently I'm at 499 here. So obviously the number 500 stage here, the one I'm currently doing, this is like the strongest here. Like look at that. They are 24 levels above me. So yeah, I don't deal much damage to them like right now. So I cannot see myself clearing this content unless I borrow my friend. So if my friend goes online later, I'm gonna show you how I borrow his character, and I'll probably gonna borrow his trainer, probably Chechia. I'm just gonna ask him either those two. So that is the synergy, and then there is another one. There is a proxy one, a proxy battle. So the proxy battle is where other players can use your heroes and try to play the stage for you. So if you think that, oh my god, I'm not smart enough to tinkering with the heroes, like changing the position and everything, and I know a friend who knows how to do that, then you can just ask for a proxy battle request in here, and your friend gonna be able to play your account for you. So it's as if you lend the phone to your friend for them to play your character for you. Because in this game, the position and the choice of heroes matters. Even though the heroes that you choose is not your strongest, sometimes that is the thing that you actually need to clear the content. That's why in this game, every single heroes are important. Every single heroes are needed in every single content. So tier list can go to the rubbish bin, because in tier list every heroes are S rank, in my opinion. So yeah, and you can just click here. Like if I already said here, like I cancel halfway, I can just revoke the synergy battle here, and I still have my chance. You make sure to make use this one, because you have one chance per day. Good evening. Hi, Coffee Samin. Welcome to the stream. Yeah. So that's the first tips I wanted to share, because this progress means a lot, So you just make sure you make use of that thing, because not many players can see that button there, like when you reach the defeat there, And also this button here, next one. This one is the next important thing that you can use in here, because this is stupid, Like the button is this big. It means battle. Wherever I click, it's gonna go to battle, except for this guy here. If I click there, it shows the enemy, the information for those enemy, and there's the records here. And whose records? Yes, this is other players' record who cleared this content with the least amount of power. So it's a record of who can clear this content with the least amount of power, and you can see who did that guy use to clear this content, and you can just copy the lineup here, like exactly use the same. And for every single content, this lineup is the strongest, because this game is totally unbalanced. Yeah. So whoever say Toran is the strongest tank can just go to hell, because the strongest tank in this game is actually Brutus. And then there's Rowan, and there's Smokey, and then Coco, and Chechia, and you can use this lineup for every single AFK stage in this game. And if this is not enough for you to know what they are doing, you can just go to the replay here, and battle record is low. Oh, okay. Yeah, let's go to another guy. See? Like everybody use the same thing. I don't know why I cannot I cannot watch the replay. But yeah, you can try. Like probably the version is wrong. I don't know what. But usually you can just watch the replay, and you can totally see where they put their heroes there. And you can just copy paste there. But I can tell you for sure that those lineup is being used in every single stage of this AFK progress. So if you ever want to, redo your account and try to make a new character, just wish list for all these 5 heroes, and you can just clear the content very very fast. Although for for your info, although you only need 1 copy of Brutus and you only need 1 copy of Rowan, you gonna need a lot of copy from for Coco and Smokey and Chechia, especially Chechia, because Chechia is your only damage dealer in here. So you're gonna need a ton of copy of Chechia. So try to upgrade her as much as you can. But for me, I clear my content using Dionel, because Dionel is actually much stronger than Chechia. But the thing is that it's hard to upgrade your Dionel. So if you already have like a mythic Chechia, then yeah, you can just use Chechia to clear everything. But for my case, my Chechia is at like legendary. So currently my Dionel is still stronger than my Chechia in clearing the content. And the difference is huge. Like here's the thing. Like I do want to try somewhere. Where is it? Where can I try? Let's see. If there is any other enemies in here that I haven't killed yet. This one. Let's just go this way. Okay, let's try this guy. So, this is the difference between Dionel and Chechia. So let's try Chechia first. Let's go here. I'm gonna put this guy here. Okay, we will. So when I use Chechia, the thing is that the battle gonna be slow for the first couple of seconds, because Chechia is only strong when she manages to use her ultimate. So you're gonna rely a lot on Chechia's ultimate. That's why the best lineup just now make use of Rowan and Smokey, and I don't have Smokey. And the reason is because those two gives you haste and energy. So it makes Chechia able to use her ultimate much faster, and she can just keep using her ultimate throughout the battle. So only in the first couple of seconds that in real time, okay? Because the game is 2 times faster, so it's only a couple of seconds in real time, but in battle it's actually a lot longer than that. It's probably 30 seconds or so, yeah, in the battle. Before you have your golem out, you actually deal almost no damage. But after your golem come out, then it's the end for the enemy. So I consider that kind of heroes is like, ultimate mayhem. Like the moment they manage to get their ultimate out, that's it. The game gonna end. So there are a couple of heroes that do exactly like that. The first one is Chechia, then after that Hewin, and then after that Aaron, and then after that who else? Toran is also one of that kind. That the ultimate is so strong, it is game changing. So that's the thing. You already seen how Chechia performed there. So before Chechia use her ultimate, like she does nothing, and that's why Dionel is actually much stronger for usual battle like this, because see, Dionel will straight up use damage. Like he will manage to use deal some damage. Like in total, I can kill more enemies compared to Chechia using Dionel, because his damage comes from his normal attack. So without energy, he already deal insane amount of damage, compared to Chechia. Like just now, Chechia didn't manage to kill any enemy at all, while my Dionel managed to kill at least one enemy, So yeah, there's difference between Dionel and Chechia. So the strength of Dionel is that before the enemy even able to use their ultimate, they will already die by Dionel. And that's why, in some cases, like for Chechia, if you try to use her ultimate, like you're gonna wait until Chechia manages to use her ultimate, even with the help of Ron and Smokey, then Chechia gonna summon her golem. But by that time, the enemy will almost have their ultimate full too. So if they manage to survive a couple of seconds getting hit by Chechia's golem, they all will gonna use their ultimate. And if they have at least a healer like Hewin, then that's it. They will go back to full health. You gonna deal as if nothing happened to them, and they will counterattack on you. But it's a different case with Dionel, because Dionel will straight away deal damage from the beginning of the battle until he manages to use ultimate, and then even after Dionel uses his ultimate, he still deal even more damage at that point in time. So the enemy won't be able to even cast their ultimate, you know. So that's the strength of Dionel. But if you think that Chechia alone is enough, then you don't really need Dionel. You can just go for other light and dark heroes. Like mainly people will go for Rainier, because Rainier is stronger in single target damage, and he is going to be useful in Dream Realm and also in PvP. But I would say that in PvP, Dionel also won't lose to, you know, Rainier. But yeah, if Dionel is useful in AFK stage and also PvP, then Rainier is useful in Dream Realm and PvP, because Dionel is almost totally useless in Dream Realm, because his damage his strength is in his AoE attack, AoE normal attack. So if there's no other target to hit, then Dionel doesn't really make use of his advantage there. But look at this. This is the enemy lineup. Like they're gonna all line up over there, you know, group up. So I'm gonna put my Dionel here. And also the reason why a lot of players don't know how to use Dionel is that nobody ever make use of Parisa. You know, this is the reason why Dionel is unpopular, because you need Parisa to make the best use of Dionel. Dionel's damage comes from his normal attack that deals splash damage in a straight line, and Parisa able to increase her allies' normal attack damage by 22% for 10 seconds and 1 year's ally. And this is where Dionel is going to deal the most damage. And then also you need to make use of this enlightening spell and put Dionel at the very back of the lineup, and this is what he gonna do. Kablem. Look at that. And the thing is that the normal attack damage and also the attack speed persists even when Dionel uses his ultimate. You know, his ultimate animation gonna be much faster. His ultimate damage is also gonna be much higher. You know, because it is also still considered a normal attack. You know, and that's why, like that's the difference between Chechia and Dionel. You know, look at that. When the enemy Chechia managed to use her ultimate, even with the help of Rowan there, like all of their heroes are already at, you know, half health or even lower. You know, so let's see it here. They're gonna jump into my Parisa, so I'm gonna put my Parisa there. There's one gonna put there. So let's just go with this. Come on, battle. Look at that. Everything in a straight line gonna get hit by Dionel, and so if they don't really have any defensive skill, they're all gonna die. And look at that, the enemy Chechia is already at low health. If I manage to just hit her once, she should have died just now with Dionel, but I didn't manage to hit her. So yeah, but it's just gonna be Igor versus Igor. But I still have my Dionel, so look at that. Yeah, and also the thing is that when Dionel used his ultimate, like, oh my god. My Igor lose. Yeah. And that's the thing, you know, like Igor is the strongest hero in late game, and that's what people don't really realize that, you know. Like a lot of people, when the game first came out, like, you know, they make kind of like what's the word, like everything is going like torrent here, torrent there, torrent here, torrent there. But right now, I never even use my torrent anymore, aside from Dream Realm. So that's that's the thing. Like I use more of Brutus and Igor in every single content because if you think about the the difference in tanking, like there are two types of tanking. Like a normal tanking that you need to soak up the enemy's damage, and there are ones that tank using invulnerability, and that invulnerability is more useful for you. Hai Bang Tamaki, welcome to the stream. Mana apa aja masuk Discord sini, hayu. Ini lagi podcast ini. Jadi lu pertanyaan-pertanyaan silahkan tanya. Nanti jadi jawabannya bisa didengar juga sama banyak orang. Tapi ini sekalian nih, liatin Dionel kayak gimana nih Dionel. Let's see. I'm gonna put Igor over here, Marisa there, that one there, Chechia there. Yeah, let's just go. Hopefully Dionel attack the Chechia. Oh no, he attacked the wrong one. Look at that, Rowan straight away died. And that's the thing that Chechia never able to do, like killing someone even before they cast their ultimate. And the rest is just depending on whose character is stronger. Look at that. Even with so much, like that many golem cast, like they still lose. That is mythic Chechia, that was mythic Chechia. And that's the strength of Dionel. Like look at this damage. Look at that. Because like I said just now, Dionel sama Rainer. Oh yeah. So I'm gonna explain like the difference. If you want to think about Dionel and Rainer, like which one you should choose, here's my thought. I've already showed you like how insane Dionel at dealing AoE damage. So in a 5 versus 5 battle, then Dionel obviously gonna come out on top. But if you fight in one like against a boss fight, then Rainer is going to come out on top. And I cannot show you the Rainer because I need to wait until my friend log in, then I can borrow his Rainer. But I can tell you how he works, from the collection here. So here's the thing, like this, I'm gonna start with Dionel first. You've already seen how he works just now. So when he using his ultimate, like he cannot be targetable, so he is kind of like really good at surviving. As long as he can manage to cast his ultimate, then he is fine. And it's easy to do that because he managed to, if he managed to even kill one before he, with his normal attack, then he will be able to cast his ultimate much faster. And then this one, his damage, this is the normal attack, passive. And then this one. So if you want to make use of Dionel, like you need to give him buffs. So I make use of Artifact, I make use of Parisa, I make use of Laika to give him attack speed buff, and that will all increase into his attack and attack speed here up to 3 stacks. So that was one from Artifact, one from Parisa, one from Laika. And then after that, if you manage to get him to Legendary Plus, this is what I'm aiming for. If I'm lucky to get a copy of Dionel, because every single normal attack that he do will increase his attack speed even more. I wouldn't dream of going into Mythic Plus or Supreme, so we are not gonna talk about this skill first. But the Mythic Plus and the Supreme will just even make him even stronger on his normal attack. That's it. And for Rainer, here's how he works. So I'm gonna play on next RTA, next update on this slide. I think so. Yeah. Call me Sabin. I'm gonna play on the next RTA this slide. Yep. So yeah, don't worry. I'm still playing my this slide. It's just that currently the content is kind of like slow. Like there's nothing much to talk about aside from my usual, Esper guide. I'm just gonna tell you tips and tricks on everything that you probably already know or probably haven't know yet about the Esper in these slides. So I'm gonna talk in detail about what you can expect from every single Esper in this slide. So I would also love to do the same thing for AFK journey here. But currently, Tamaki here is he wants to know like which one worth more, Rainer or Dionel. So for Dionel, the way he works is that here his ultimate, if you have more allies, you have more heroes compared to your enemies, Rainer is going to deal damage to his target, the one that has the most health, that has the healthiest enemy, and then he and that healthiest enemy will both be removed from the battle. But if you have less number of heroes compared to your enemy, then Rainer will not deal damage to his target, the healthiest enemy, but only going to make it make that enemy disappear. And the good news is that because it targets the healthiest enemy, that means that who is the healthiest enemy in the enemy lineup most of the time? It's gonna be the healer or the tank. Because the DPS usually cannot heal themselves, and if you manage to deal some AoE damage to them, they are not gonna be the healthiest in the enemy lineup. But the tank, usually if using shield or damage reduction or getting healed by the healer, and especially the healer, they are like very very tanky in this game. They are most likely at most of the time the healthiest in the enemy lineup. So you can imagine how game changing it is removing the enemy healer from the battle for 7 seconds. Like just imagine the enemy Smokey, the enemy Hewin, the enemy healer getting removed for 7 seconds, and it will make a losing battle into a winning battle. So Rainer is what's the word? Like he changed the a losing to winning, like that. So it's kind of like situational for Rainer, but most of the time he gonna make you win in how to say, like a balanced battle. So in AFK stage where the enemy is much stronger than you, removing just one of them is usually not gonna change anything. That's why Dionel is still much more useful in AFK stage. And also this thing, when a battle starts, Rainer switches and ages an ally's position with an enemy if they are in symmetrical positions. Whenever the enemy takes damage, the ally restores HP, blah 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 blah. So this is basically when you put Rainer in the battle before the battle starts, the ally behind him will get swapped by the enemy in the exact mirrored position in the enemy lineup. So if there is no one in that tile, he's not gonna swap anyone. So you need to be in the exact position, in the same position as the enemy that you want to swap. And that means that usually if the enemy is on the back line, so you also need to put your allies in the back line. So you cannot use your artifact that way, because your artifact here, the strongest artifact in this game, this one, Enlightening Spell, target your rearmost ally. And if you want to swap the enemy's rearmost hero, usually that one is the most dangerous one, because usually they put their DPS at the rearmost most of the time. So if you want to swap, you're obviously not gonna swap a DPS or a healer to your enemy. So you're gonna put your tanky character, and that means that your tanky character is now in the rearmost area in your battle lineup. So if you use Enlightening Spell, it's gonna go to your tank, which is gonna be useless for them. And that's why Rainer is kind of like situational. It depends on in which location is the enemy that you want to swap, but most of the time, because you swap a tankier character, and because every time they got attacked, they will heal HP. So if you swap the enemy's tank with your tank, usually your tank gonna come out on top. because your tank get a bonus heal instead of the enemy's tank. But if you swap their DPS with your tank, then their DPS will die most of the time and your tank will survive. And that is only against the similar power enemy. So again, if you fight against a much stronger enemy, like for example, like in my case, if I go to my AFK stage here, like the enemy here is 25 level above me. So even if I swap the enemy's Vala to my lineup, it's gonna take me quite some time to kill that Vala, and my tank that goes to the enemy will die very fast. So before I even manage to kill their Vala, I will already die all of my lineup, and because I need an actual tank in front, and then for example if my Dionel is Rainer, then I'm obviously need another tank to swap. Like for example, if my Igor is the one I swap there, or Igor is not a tank, so I'm gonna need to use a Thoran here, another tank. So I already waste 2 slots for 2 tanks, and that means that I'm gonna lose a lot on DPS, because obviously I'm gonna need another healer in here. For example, like let's use Hugh in here. I'm gonna need 1 healer, and then this is gonna be Rainer. So my DPS is only 1. So if I cannot kill the enemy Vala using only 1 DPS on 1 Rainer, then that's it. It's game over for me, because my Thoran who goes there to the enemy line, to the enemy backline, will die much faster compared to the enemy's Vala. And that's why I told Tamaki that in terms of AFK stage, Dionel is much stronger, because Dionel is able to attack the enemy's backline even without going to the enemy's backline. Like for example, like here, like Dionel, the moment I attack, I will attack the enemy's backline. Look at that. But because I currently facing against enemies 25 level above me, I don't deal any damage to them. So yeah, you won't see much of the damage there. But because I shoot in a straight line, I don't need to swap anyone to deal damage to their backline, and that's the strength of Dionel there. So that's why Dionel in AFK stage is much more useful than Rainer. But for Rainer's side, his strength, his damage is on a single target damage. So here's his damage. Rainer launches a mighty strike against the healthiest enemy through the portal, interrupting them and dealing 45% damage 8 times. So this is insanely strong. Like this is an insane single target damage, like 45% times 8. Where's my calculator? Like 45 times 8. That is 360% attack damage. And then after that, he punches and knocks them into the air, dealing another 120% damage. So that means that is 480% damage. And if the enemy's HP is still above 61%, he will deal percentage HP damage. And you can already imagine how much damage this thing will deal to a single target enemy. So that's why he is much stronger in Dream Realm compared to Dionel, because his damage is a single target damage. You know, and then if you can get him to higher level, like, you know, he also recover HP and energy, you know, and blah 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 and everything, all this bonus. And if you can manage to get him to legendary plus, he increase his allies attack, you know, and enemies attack. So he is like a really strong damage, single target damage dealer. So if you do aim for a Dream Realm, like obviously don't use Dionel, but use Rainer instead. And in PvP, again, it's situational. Like because PvP map is kind of like messed up, you know, like PvP map is messed up. Like let's go to PvP again. Digabung sama CC, cocoknya Dionel tricky, emang nggak bisa pakai aktifnya nama speed. Mau cocok sama CC, kayaknya gua ambil Rainer aja, gua udah invite aja ke CC sambil bisa. Here's the thing, you know. Sometimes you do need both, but you know, you just gotta have to see which one do you need. Because if you pair the both, obviously this one you're gonna need to choose the enlightening spell. Which one do you want to give to Chechia or to Dionel? But most of the time it's much more worth giving it to Dionel rather than Chechia, because if you give to Chechia, that means that her attack speed will only hit one single enemy, while the attack speed to Dionel will hit enemy in a straight line. So this is what happens if I use the both. Obviously I'm gonna deal insane amount of damage, like a ton more by combining both. Look at this. Look at that though. I deal much more damage. I managed to kill one enemy there, but it's still not enough. So if you think that your Chechia is not enough, then you can combine Chechia together with Dionel, and you can see how much damage they deal. Look at this. Look at that. They both deal same amount of damage if Chechia managed to use her ultimate. So yeah, it's just another Chechia. It's really good. So if you think you want to progress much further in AFK stage, then having both Chechia and Dionel gonna push you a lot more. But if you need help in getting that last push in Dream Realm here, then using Rainer gonna help you more. It's just depending on your preference. Do you want a higher rank in Dream Realm, or do you want a higher progress in AFK stage? And that's probably gonna be your answer. But in the Dream Realm, sometimes, just like in AFK stage, sometimes you do want to use Chechia, sometimes you do want to use Dionel, sometimes you do want to use both, it depending on the enemy's lineup. It's the same case for the Dream Realm. Sometimes you don't need Rainer, sometimes you do need Rainer. For example, here. Rainer is here. In Necro Dragon, if you use Rainer, it's gonna help you a lot more in clearing Necro Dragon much faster. But in some other bosses, in here, you don't need, you cannot use Rainer in here, or etc. I don't know which one is good or which one is not good with Rainer, but it's situational, just like in AFK stage. So it now goes back to your preference. You do want to go with Rainer, or do you want to go with Dionel? But in any case, they have a totally different playstyle. I would say that in Dionel, your preparation is vital. You need more preparation for Dionel in terms of lineup. You need Laika, you need the enlightening spell artifact, you need Parisa in order to maximize Dionel's damage. For Rainer, you need a strong tank to be sent to the enemy's backline. You need positioning, let me just go to the PvP here. I'm gonna show you the PvP. Let's just choose some PvP here. Let's see if the enemy have a weird placement. Now look at this. In here, in this kind of map, I obviously cannot use Rainer to swap this Vala, because this slot is only one. So if I use Rainer in here, I cannot swap anyone. Rainer will only swap the ally behind him. So I can only put Rainer in here and it will swap Laika, but because there is no one in the exact symmetrical position in here, he's not gonna swap anyone. So that's why even though Rainer is insanely strong, if you go to PvP, it all depends on the map here. If the map is not suitable for Rainer, then you cannot use Rainer to swap your allies. But you still can make use of his ultimate. His ultimate, like I said, will change a losing battle into a winning battle. And that's the thing that a lot of players don't realize. This is an advice coming from my friend who is rank 1 in Arena. Let me show you guys. Is he still rank 1 right now? Or he's not? Yeah. My friend is this guy. He is rank 1 in Arena. And that's how I know like which hero is going to be insanely strong in late game arena and which one is going to be totally useless. And the reason this is hopefully this guy Pipsy and Tina Kimutaku and Kryas and Tom and Jerry, etc., hopefully they don't watch this video, because I'm gonna spoil to you the reason why he is rank 1. It is because he is not using Toran and he is not using Carolina. The mistake that everybody make in PvP is because they use Toran and Carolina, because that's what people tell to bring in the tier list. And that's why, again, tier list can just go to hell, because it's a totally wrong information there. The reason why he is really strong is because he used Rainer and Damian. And nobody in the high-ranking PvP used those two. And that's insanely, illogical, Because if you think about it, in every single RPG game, if you have a tank, DPS, and a healer, who are you going to kill first? Everybody will answer the same. Obviously, kill the healer first. So what happened if the healer is untargetable? And that is why he is the only PvP player in my server who used Damian in very high-end PvP ranking there. And that's the reason why he is so strong in PvP there, Damian. And also Rainer. Like, the strength of Rainer is not from him swapping places with the enemy. It's because when you are losing, like if you have 4 heroes and the enemy still have 5 heroes, Rainer will remove their healer or their tank, and you will win instead. That's why I say a trainer makes a losing battle into a winning battle, and that's his strength there. Let me just try going with this first. Let's see. Yeah, let's just go with this battle. So yeah. So yeah, again, everything is situational. Like you can see here, like I'm using Dionel here, and you can see later like whether I'm gonna win or not, because I'm also losing in terms of power. So I don't know if I have enough damage to kill all of them, but you can see that's how much damage I deal, and it's apparently not enough. Yeah. So power also affect the outcome in here. Kalian harus punya weapon mythic dulu. Yeah, that's why. That's why not many players manage to reach that point. Because if you know about this beforehand, you should have put him in your wish list from the very beginning of the game. And that's the only way you can get Damian to Mythic Plus or even Supreme. Like the reason why he is at rank 1 arena is because his Damian is at Supreme. He's been wish listing that Damian from the very beginning of the game. And look at this, the difference is a lot, like 110 score difference there, just because he used Damian. As his healer, and nobody can kill his Damian, like nobody can target his Damian. So yeah, that's the difference between knowing what you wish for from the very beginning of the game, and it's gonna snowball until the end game. Like for example, like here, instead of Damian, my wish list is on Parisa. Because I've already planned from the beginning to make use of Parisa's normal attack increase in here. Because I know for sure from my experience playing a lot of games that this normal attack damage increase is a very strong thing to have. And she is the only one that can do that, Because like for example, like you can imagine this game as an RPG like World of Warcraft. You have a tank, DPS, and healer, and the DPS always gonna deal damage using their normal attack damage. So if you want to strengthen your OD even further, you're gonna need to pair him up with Parisa. So this is my current wish list, you know. And there's also this one, like this is underrated heroes. Like I rather have Niru to Supreme because this is what everyone is overlooking. The ability to stop enemy from getting healed is going to be insanely OP in every single content in the game. He is the only one able to do this. And you can already see, like if you already progress into the game for so far, you can already know how annoying it is to have the enemy Smokey keep spamming heal over and over again to your enemy, making them unkillable. And he is the only one who can do this, you know, preventing the enemy's HP recovery in for 8 seconds. And within that 8 seconds, obviously, someone gonna die. And also another one who can reduce the enemy's healing is Igor. And that's why like Igor and Nero is in my wish list, and it's been proven. I've already asked my friend who is in rank 1 PvP there, who is the most annoying, strongest hero in PvP. And his answer is Igor, and then after that Brian, and then after that Shakir, and then after that this one, Kasadi, you know. And then in the epic list, the strongest one is Antandra, this one. And then after that, Damian here. And then in here is Viperian. But that's not considering like situational strength. Like I still gonna call this guy too. Valiant and Mirail is the most underrated one because in the near future, people gonna realize how insanely strong they both are. Di Pride Wonder udah disana itu Damian sama si kakek buat main naik Slika aja daripada si kakek. Yeah. And that's why, like, you know, they already recommend Damian to be increased, but not a lot of people you know, like using the dream something. What is that? This thing. Because in wishlist, like, you know, it all depends on your luck whether you get the Damian or not. But if you do want to get a lot of copy of Damian until he managed to get to Supreme, then you do need to spend in Dream Store. You know, go straight for Damian, or you actually looking for Damian's copy in everywhere you can. You know, this is what gonna make a difference between which heroes you're gonna focus on. You know, because you cannot really rely on your luck in here, getting the same copy of heroes over and over again. So you do need to, you know, actually buy for it. So that's the difference. Like even in that PvP ranking there, even though they all know that my friend is the only one who used Damian there, they cannot really copy him because their Damian is still sitting at Mythic Plus or something, you know, while his Damian is at Supreme because he actually spent on Damian. And that's the difference. Yeah. Itu wajib beli Odi dulu sih. Yeah, exactly. So if you ask me also, that's the correct you know, suggestion from Tamaki, because for my case also in the Emporium here, I'm also buying for Odi. You can see here, like 15, like 15/15 here, while my Odi is the only one I keep buying, 6/15 here. I already bought, how much is that? A 9 Odi from here. Because Odi is going to be your main DPS for Dream Realm, you know, in Dream Realm. So obviously you're gonna need to increase your Odi's level first to you know, keep getting on the top rank in Dream Realm. And also Odi gonna help you a lot in AFK stage, because sometimes you don't want to kill all 5 enemies at the same time. If the enemy tank is annoying, like for example here, the enemy's Niru is actually the strongest in here, you know, because just because of Niru here and Damian, they are all so healthy, I cannot even kill them. So I do need Odi in here to heal them. And if I do want to focus on Odi in here, so I'm just gonna, let me see. Yeah, I'm just gonna put Odi in there, and I'm gonna use some healer. Hopefully,
I
let's
come
see.
to protect.
Tank and a healer.
Let's go take it to him.
Okay. So let's see. If I can manage to kill Niru here, then it's obviously gonna hurt them a lot. Like, look at that. Look how much heal their Damian and their Niru able to keep their Niru alive there. So yeah, sometimes you do want to kill one single enemy as soon as possible. So that's why Audi is your biggest asset in every single content in the game, whether it's gonna be Dream Realm, whether it's gonna be an AFK stage, and I've already mentioned just now that you have two types of tank. The one that tanking normally, like Lumon here, and then Thoran, and then Lucius. The way they tank is a normal tanking behavior. They gonna absorb the enemy's damage while your allies do a lot of things behind them. But in the case where you already progress so much faster in your AFK stage, when the enemy is 25 or 30 level above you, those kind of tank will die in a single hit. So what happens if that kind of enemy appear? So you're obviously gonna need a different type of tank. So this is what I call an invulnerable tank. So Brutus, Aaron, and Igor, and then Antandra is the invulnerable tank. So those tank is actually worth far more in your progression compared to Thoran. And this is where everybody is wrong. Thoran is not the strongest tank out there. If you do want to progress much faster, you actually supposed to have Brutus, Aaron, Igor. What is Igor? Igor and Antandra. Because even when Antandra tanking normally, like her way of damage mitigation is damage taken reduction. And I've already mentioned this in this slide. Damage taken reduction is the strongest type of damage reduction, damage mitigation. So instead of giving shield, instead of, like eating the damage straight away, like relying on your defense, this one is going to reduce the enemy's damage dealt to you straight away. So for example, if you have 1000 HP and you get a shield that is 30% of your maximum HP value, so you're gonna get a 300 shield. If the enemy hit you for 1000 damage, if you don't have that shield, you're gonna die in a single hit. But with that shield, you're gonna absorb 300 damage to your shield and you will receive only 700 damage. But if you have damage taken reduction like this, it's gonna reduce the enemy's damage by 600, and even without shield, you only receive 400 damage on your 1000 HP, and you have 600 HP left, and that's why damage taken reduction is really, really strong. And also why C is insanely strong in PvP later on, because if you can manage to get her to like Supreme here, it is insanely strong. Its enemy hit with shield assault increases 10% of the physical defense up to 6 stacks. This is 60% defense increase. What the hell? And also this one, when the guarded ally when their HP ratio drops below, whenever it's damage taken by 10 seconds, you can use one for each guarded ally per battle. And this includes herself. So that's why she is insanely strong with all those damage reduction. And you've already seen Brutus with his invulnerability. He buys you 5 seconds of time so that you can get your Chechia to use her ultimate. And Aaron, his strength of tanking is from his dodge rate here. If you can manage to get him to level 4 dodge rate here, which requires him to be level 200 and above, like 212 I think, or 220, I forgot. His dodge rate goes up to 80%. And you can imagine 80% dodging is like, you will never ever be able to hit him. And that's the way he is tanking, by dodging. And if you dodge the enemy's attack, that means that you receive zero damage. Kalau saya jalur satu-satu F2V bisa capai masih itu hero lu belum ada legend plus atau anything. Nope, yep, that's the thing. I don't have any mythic heroes yet. And I've already progressed this far. So you can already imagine, like, everything that I do is based on strategy, not based on brute force. So yeah, I've already make use of like every single heroes. Like sometimes when my guild mates ask me for proxy battle, I've seen a lot of players like have the least amount of heroes choice. Like they never change their wish list from the beginning of the game until now, and they don't have that many heroes to choose for, and that is kind of like a mistake because some stages you actually need set. And you need to increase the level of your set. Like for example, like in Dream Realm, like in here, in the Necro Dragon, you actually need Set, because Set gonna deal the most damage in this battle. Set, Shakir, and then, Corin, and even this one, Temesia. Let me show you the difference between using Temesia and the difference between using Toran. Here you go. Like this is Toran. Let me show you how much damage I deal using Torrent here. Let's go. So, Kruger here is to reduce the enemy's defense. So even without moving, like his purpose is just reducing the enemy's defense, it increases the overall damage my teammate's gonna deal. And then after that, Corin here is the damage dealer, while also he is protecting his allies with shield. So Corin is insanely strong in here. And then Thoran increased the enemy's damage taken, so he also deal almost 0 damage because of his attack down, because he's not moving. While I make use of Marile to keep attacking the enemy while moving, so he doesn't get damage reduction. He actually deal more damage than Odi. That's why you cannot fully rely on Odi too. But you also still need to wishlist for Marile. So here's the damage, 73%. And that is using Torrent, 73%. Now I'm just gonna change, because they both tank, I'm gonna change the Torrent to this one. What's her name? Artemisia. And you can see, if you follow the mechanic, and also because I have a bonus faction using Temesia, you can see the difference here. Let's just go. So the bonus faction, and also because Temesia keep on moving back and forth, and she actually reduced the boss damage, because her skill reduced the enemy's damage dealt to your allies. So she actually helps a lot in fighting this Necro Dragon. So you cannot just follow YouTube guide, at face value. You must always see like the mechanic. Like look, you can see here. In the previous battle, my Coco already died at this point, but because I used Temesia and I got the bonus faction, bonus HP, and then also the damage reduction to the Necro Dragon, my Coco is actually able to survive much longer. You see, and this is the difference. Look at that. We got 73% just now, and with Temesia here, I can go up to until 90%. And that's why even, heroes that you will never ever think of, if you follow the mechanic, like Necro Dragon reduce the enemy's attack by a lot if they don't move, you would have, if you use logic, you would have tried to use Temesia, and this is what nobody ever tried to use. They all just, without thinking, just follow the guide and just all use Torrent. And that's also why my friend here, he is able to look at that, the damage difference between the rank 2, 1, 2, and the 3rd tier, is because he also, every night we gonna go into Discord and we share thought about theory crafting, like which hero is good for which case and which hero is good in which case. And he also did the same as what I did there, using Temesia in order to kill this guy instead of using Torrent. So there are a lot of things that you can theory craft in this game. So that's why do not follow tier list, just follow your brain. And what else? Yeah, so I've already mentioned the heroes that are going to be very useful in late game: Brutus, Aaron, Igor, and then Antandra, instead of going for Toran. you know, and then the one that is going to be insanely strong late game in PvP is Shakir. Shakir is insanely strong, and then Igor, and then who else? Who else? Yeah, Antandra, as I mentioned, then Damian, and then who else? Oh yeah, this one also. Like my friend is currently experimenting on Scarlita. He wants to make an invincible team because he already have his Damian to Supreme. His Damian is untargetable. Scarlita also, at the beginning of the game, when a battle starts, Scarlita brings to the backline, ascends to the sky, and hovers above the battlefield. That means that she is untargetable for 15 seconds into the battle. And then after that, he gonna make use of Igor. So he is trying to make a team that is totally untargetable. And if he succeed, then it's gonna be our best theory crafting yet. And then after that, there are a lot of underrated heroes here. Like for example, Atalanta. Atalanta is actually insanely strong if I read about her skill set here, but I cannot prove to you because nobody ever have Atalanta to Mythic Plus or even Supreme. But if you read in her skill set here, her first skill actually is disable. Like she keeps on whipping her enemy, and if there are enemies behind that enemy, both of them will going to get knocked back and knocked down, and that happens a lot of times. Like it only have 12-second cooldown, and if the game is if the battle you press the 2 times faster button, that means this will happen like every 6 seconds. She gonna knock enemy back, and that's gonna interrupt anything that they do, and that's actually disruptive. Like they're very disruptive, and that will prevent the enemy from doing anything to you while you still deal damage to them. And her attack is an AoE attack, like her bolt actually explode, and the range is 2 tiles. Like it's huge. The explosion is huge. So her attack is actually an AoE attack too. It's similar to Dionel, but not as strong as Dionel. It has a cooldown of 8 seconds. So she is actually a really strong marksman in PvP. And then also Kasadi. This is a very underrated hero because my friend also mentioned, and also from me, because I also the one that told him about the strength of this Kasadi, is that this thing, like she will stun the nearest enemy every 8 seconds, which means that in a 2 times faster battle, that means every 4 seconds she gonna stun someone. It's the similar disruptive thing with Atalanta. But aside from that, she also buffed her nearest ally with magic damage. So imagine if I give this buff to Dionel, and Dionel gonna hit all 5 enemies in a straight line. Aside from dealing physical damage, my Dionel also gonna deal magic damage to all 5 enemies. And that's why Kasadi is not rated really high in tier list, because she is not the one who is strong. She makes her ally stronger because of her. So that's the thing that tier list never consider about, making her ally stronger. And that's why Parisa is also not really rated high, because Parisa is not strong by herself. She makes her ally stronger. But aside from Kasadi, because Kasadi's ultimate is like a disable, like this is a huge crowd control, while Parisa magic ultimate actually deal insane amount of damage. Like you wouldn't you really underestimate the amount of damage that Parisa can deal. I'm gonna show you probably in here. Let's see. I don't really have anything else to do in here. Like I've already cleared up most content here, so I only have like this thing to test about my damage. So let's just see. Like this is the damage that Parisa can deal. Oh, you see, she doesn't last long enough. Yeah, let's just see the damage. Yeah, it doesn't show really much because he cannot survive for too long. But if he can survive and the enemy can group up together, then she will deal a lot of damage. Let's see if I can find somewhere I can make use of Parisa's damage. Probably in PvP. Let's see. I have 134k, so I do want to fight a similar power enemy. 143k is too high. Like I said just now, if I fight against a enemy with too high power in here, then I will have lose just because I don't deal enough damage to kill them. So yeah, we do want to choose enemy that are of similar level to me. But this time it's not actually similar level. Like this one is much, weaker than me. But we can see. Like you will see in here the damage of Parisa, even though it's much lower than Dionel. But you should know that Dionel wouldn't deal this much damage without Parisa around.
Victory, the glory of which belongs to each and every warrior.
Yeah, Laika and Parisa, they are my favorite, support DPS. Let me see, is there any place I can showcase? Oh, this is nice, 139. Let's just find 139. This is higher than mine. Look at that, they have 2 mythic, Torrent and Rowan, which is totally a waste. he wasted a lot of wish lists in there. But let's just see. We're gonna go like this. It's all tank. Oh my god. Okay, hopefully I will be able to showcase Parisa's damage in here, because Parisa deal more damage the more the enemy stick together. Oh my god. But compared to Dionel, obviously my Dionel gonna deal even more if they stick together. Look at that. Parisa, and also because her normal attack absorbs the enemy's energy, so she can actually cast a ton of ultimate. So if you do want to make use of this artifact like this one, like this is also, oh my god, this is too much. 162k. Yeah, this is. I'm not gonna be able to kill this. Let's just refresh. Refresh. This one probably all right. Oh, look at this, Kasadi. Nice. If I ever see enemy who make use of this unrated hero, I already have high hopes for them. Let's see. Yeah, let's just try with this. Yeah, so what I want to mention is the Star Shard spell. So Star Shard spell deals damage to the enemy's current HP every time we cast ultimate. So Parisa is going to be able to make maximum use of the Star Shard spell, together with heroes like Odi, heroes like Rowan, who can cast their ultimate very, very fast. So let's try this one. Let's go. I don't know if we are able to win this. Let's just see. Okay, one down. Okay, Chechia is dead. And look at that. And this is what happens if I fight against like a similar power enemies. Maki mau masuk Discord nggak? Oi, kalau mau ngobrol aja langsung di sini. Kalau ada pertanyaan lagi gitu.
The sweetest taste is victory.
Ntar aja kalau udah kelar stream. Okay. Yeah, I don't really have much things to do. Like, I'm just gonna tell you all the things that I know about all the heroes here. So Yeah, it also gonna save some time for Tamaki. Look at this. Ooh, Faye. What the hell? This guy still use Faye. Well, anyway, I'll most likely gonna win this one. Oh yeah, Aaron also. The strength of Aaron. If you manage to get Aaron to Mythic Plus, then he will be able to cast his ultimate the moment the battle starts, and that is a huge game changing. Because that means that if I ever have Aaron at Mythic Plus and able to do that, then I'm totally gonna make use of him together with my Dionel, because straight away at the beginning of the battle I will be able to hit all 5 enemies using my Dionel, and that is going to be totally different compared to bringing Chechia, and that's the strength of Dionel. The moment the battle starts, all 5 enemies will die straight away with that combo. So let me tell you about every single heroes in this game and how do you make your wish list at the very beginning of the game. So at the very beginning of the game, try to get these two. Try to get these two, and then for this one, get Brutus and Smokey. Okay, and for this one, get Grandma and also he win. And then for this one, grab Toran and Igor. Because you're gonna get Chechia, a free copy of Chechia at the beginning of the game. So you only need one first. Because all these heroes, you need one copy of every single one of these heroes. Because they are a must-have. And also because you also have this thing, what is this called? The Legend Trial. And you can only use one element for each of these stages here. So obviously you're gonna need a tank for the Lightbearer, you're gonna need a tank for the Wilder, you're gonna need a tank for the Graveborn, you're gonna need a tank for the Mauler. So you're gonna need every single tank from every single faction. In here is Temesia, in here is Brutus, in here is Granny, in here is Toran. You need all 4 of them. And then after you get a copy for each, then Rowan, you don't actually need to upgrade Rowan to here. Like he is already good enough even without this, But if you don't have anything to go for, then you can keep upgrading your Torrent. But I would recommend very much for you to get a copy of Kasadi, and after that get a copy of Atalanta. But Atalanta you can skip, like just one copy of Kasadi if you want. Like Kasadi is situational because if the enemy use Sylvina, then you're gonna be able to make use of your Kasadi. Because the moment Sylvina jump to your backline, Kasadi will straight away stun that Sylvina and kill her straight away. And that's the strength of Kasadi. Kasadi will prevent any assassin from killing your backline. So you do need one copy of her just in case you meet a Sylvina in your AFK stage or your PvE content later on. And one copy is enough. Atalanta is still situational, like she is insanely good. I've already mentioned she is insanely good in PvP. And what you need in a high AFK stage level is that because the enemy is much stronger than you, obviously a brute force method is not gonna work. You need to disable the enemy permanently, or you need to out heal them, or you need to make other nasty tricks or a cheat skill in order to kill enemies much stronger than you. And most of the time, it's the same strategy that you use in PvP. So in a high level AFK stage, actually the PvP heroes are the most useful in there. And that goes for Atalanta, because disabling your enemy is much more useful than try to kill them straight away, because obviously you won't be able to do that. Like I've already shown you, against enemies 25 level above me, I didn't even deal any damage to them. So brute force not gonna work. You need to try to permanently disable them, and Atalanta is really good in that job, in doing that job. But if you don't think you need her because you already have like Chechia and other like disabler there, then yeah, just one copy of Kasadi and go back to Rowan. because these two are the ones that you will get the most value with more copies, because Tamesia gonna be your main source of light bearers tank. Like Lucius is great, Lucius is insanely strong, but Temesia have a different kind of tanking method, and I've already shown you in Necrodragon how strong Temesia can be in Necrodragon. So obviously if you have a supreme Temesia compared to those other players who only have one copy of Temesia, you're gonna deal much more damage to Necrodragon compared to them, obviously. So yeah, just keep getting to their copies. And then Brutus, you only need one copy of Brutus, because his strength is in his ability of invulnerable for 5 seconds when he is gonna die. And his other skill here is only increasing his damage and his life steal. So it obviously increases survivability, but you can try to do that by pairing him with Queen Antandra, and also by using this artifact, this one, Iron Wall spell, because you're obviously gonna put your Brutus in the very front of your lineup. So Iron Wall spell will make sure that your Brutus will live a little bit longer. So even with just one copy of Brutus, it's already enough. And so after you get your Brutus, you can go to Shakir or to Riz. Because I already mentioned Shakir is insanely strong in high level PvP because he is able to have lifesteal from the beginning of the game, and he is unaffected by anything. He is immune to all control effects in wolf form, and a bonus of life drain, like a permanent life drain, so he cannot be stopped, he cannot be killed. And in this mythic class, Shakir can cast his ultimates once his energy is 800. It's not casting the ultimate. This is what you want to aim for in Shakir if you do want to make him invincible. Like only high level players can tell you how insanely impossible it is to kill a 30 level above you, a Shakir which has 30 level above you. Like, you cannot stun him, you cannot stop him, it's impossible to kill him in one shot, and he has insane amount of lifesteal. And that's how insane Shakir is. But obviously in PvP you are going to fight enemies with similar power than you, so both Shakir and Riz is going to be the same annoying DPS in PvP. But they're not gonna really help you in PvE content, so obviously don't really hope too much for them. Like, it's much more beneficial to hope for Smokey. But Riz is also another underrated hero. Like, like Riz is a marksman that goes around the entire battlefield shooting everything that is closest to her. And because she is going around the battlefield, like, she is able to hit both the tank and your DPS. And so, because she also moves around, as long as the enemy tank and your closest target that you aim at the beginning of the battle is still alive, nobody is going to aim for Riz. And the moment she uses her ultimates attack every single enemy in the entire battlefield. So she is insanely strong in PvP, but not so much in PvP, because obviously in PvE you do have a target you want to kill first, instead of spreading your damage equally to your enemies. Because if you have enemies 30 level above you, obviously spreading your damage not gonna do much. Like, one heal from the enemy will heal them back all to full health. But in PvP, if the enemy is at the same level at you, this gonna deal the most damage to your enemy. And she also moves really fast compared to Temesia with her horse. Riz moves at insanely high speed across the battlefield. So if there's ever a melee heroes attacking Riz, then they won't be able to catch up with her, and they're gonna waste a lot of time just trying to chase her around the battlefield. Now Lumon, like, if you do get Lumon, like one copy of him, like a lot of players and even the tier list say that Lumon is the most useless tank, but that is because they use him against enemies stronger than your level. So here's the difference between tanking. Like Brutus obviously is the best choice against enemies stronger than you, because when every single tank die in one shot, Brutus is the only one who can survive for 5 seconds. And that and this is why Lumon cannot compete with that, because Lumon, his survivability comes from a shield. And like I said, if you have a shield and the enemy is much stronger than you, your shield gonna break in no time. So that's why Lumon feel very squeezy as a tank, because the reason is because all those players who make the tier list tried him in a very high level stage. So obviously he's gonna feel to be the weakest, because even for Granny here, if she reaches a lower HP than 50%, she will increase her physical defense, magic defense, and recover 100% HP every second. Like in this case, she is much stronger than Lumon, because she will keep regenerating HP as long as the enemy aren't able to deal more damage than her heal. Then she will survive much longer than Lumon's shield. But if you fight against the enemy at a similar level, Lumon's shield is almost unbreakable, while at the same time, every couple of seconds, she will stun your lineup, which is totally disruptive. And he also can push your allies, your heroes around the battlefield, making your positioning change and everything. And that can make your DPS become closer to the enemy's lineup and your tank in a weird position, and that will change a lot of things, because you're obviously gonna die if your DPS is in the front while your tank is at the back. And that's the strength of Lumon. Like obviously people don't consider that kind of thing. So in this case, because Lumon is totally useless in PvE content where you are fighting against a stronger enemies than you, he is actually going to be insanely good in PvP, in theory crafting idea. Because if you fight against the similar level allies, you've already seen how strong Lucius is in high level PvP, because his shield is almost unbreakable. It's the same case for Lumon. But Lumon can only give shield to himself, so that's why he is still an unpopular choice, because Lucius can do a similar thing to him in terms of survivability minus the crowd control. So if you do want to choose Lumon, then you should aim for just his crowd control. So if you think you don't need him, and I also don't really recommend him because he doesn't help you in any PvE content whatsoever, so just don't take him at all. So yeah, one copy of Brutus is enough. Smokey, obviously, the best PvE healer in this entire game, but he is totally useless in PvP, because this is the thing that every single player make a mistake in PvP. They still use Smokey, while Smokey is the easiest healer to counter. One stun and he is totally useless, coming from the best healer in the game, getting hit by one stun, and he becomes the most useless healer in this entire game. So yeah, if you put him as a defensive hero, it's so easy to counter him. One Kasadi is enough to do the job, to prevent him from healing. And you can also use Chechia to just keep on stunning him, preventing him to heal. And then Aaron can also just keep on using Black Hole at him, and he won't be able to heal. A lot of Disable can just stop him from healing, But he is undoubtedly the strongest healer in PvE content, because in PvE not many enemies can stun you, especially aiming for your healer, and you can just change your lineup so that your Smokey doesn't get stunned. So yeah, keep getting a copy of him. And this one, yeah, you can just choose this after you get Brutus. Okay. Now going into here, Granny, just one copy is enough, to help you with the Wilder Tower. And if you do think that Granny is, you do need Granny further, then yeah, you can try to get her copy. But I will recommend very much, once you get one copy of Granny, go for Aaron. Like, this is gonna be your wish list for your Wilder. Hewin, insanely strong. This is the same thing as Chechia. She is another hero that the moment she is able to cast her ultimate, that's it. Game over for whoever enemy she is facing, because she will bring her allies back to full health as if there's nothing happening before, like back to beginning. And in PvP, as a defensive player, as the defensive formation, you have another advantage. That is, if the time runs out, the defender will win. So Hewin is the strongest defender in buying out time. Because the moment she is able to cast her ultimate, that's it. You've already wasted like 30 seconds of your life trying to deal damage to your enemy, and they are now back to full health. Mungkin jeleknya harus nempel semua timnya, kalau ada sinyal atau fighter yang maju kita, jadi sampai kalau ngumpul semua digetok sama Temesia kelegan. That's another thing that why I do want to mention Lumon here. Like, a lot of players don't realize that Lumon is really strong in PvP, because Lumon is able to push Smokey away, you know. Like, even though he makes the enemy group up together, but he keeps on pushing the enemy around every couple of seconds, and that will affect Smokey a lot, you know. Like, this is kind of like somehow the best one in dealing with Smokey, because usually those players who use Smokey, they want to group up their allies together, and for Lumon, who can push around the enemy, you know, they all 5 of them is going to be pushed around by Lumon, you know, in the entire fight, and that will disrupt the enemy a lot, you know. So that's why Smokey is the easiest healer to counter if goes into PvP. And now Hewin, obviously you need Hewin as much as possible. She is the strongest healer in the late game, because the moment she managed to cast her ultimate, just like Chechia, it's game over for whoever the enemy is. And for the copy here, if you do want, Brian is another underrated as heroes, because he is also something that gives headache to my friend in PvP. If he ever meet a Brian, and also he is trying to make use of Brian, because I have one word, how to say, like one word to call him. He is a tank killer. His ultimate, he is able to cast his ultimate at the beginning of the battle, and every single attack he do, he will absorb the enemy's energy. This is the same thing as Vala. While Vala attack the enemy's backline, the rearmost enemy, like the furthest enemy from Vala, and keep absorbing their energy. So Vala is the best counter against Carolina, and that's why all those players who follow the tier list and try to use Carolina in PvP is the one who make a lot of mistakes, because they don't consider her counter. Because in every single PvP, you will find Vala everywhere. So if you put Carolina in a defensive position, it is an easy prey for Vala to just keep on hitting Carolina, and Carolina, who cannot use ultimate, is a useless Carolina. And the same thing from Brian, but for Brian, he is attacking the closest enemy, which means he gonna make the enemy's tank unable to use any ultimate, while at the same time, because of his insane damage and he is able to use ultimate at the beginning of the battle, he is the fastest tank killer in this game. And obviously it's not gonna be useful much in PvE, you know, like there are like very rare cases where you want to kill the enemy tank in one shot, but in PvP, being able to kill the enemy tank in one shot is a really strong thing to have. And that's why Brian is very niche in his usage, so he's not gonna help you much in progression. But if you do care about PvP that much, then Brian is gonna be your strongest tank killer in this game. So yeah, if you do want one copy of him for situational case in AFK states, then feel free to try getting him. But it's still a long way until you need him in PvP, because you do need to get him a lot of copy in order to make him able to kill tank in one shot. So I do recommend to just keep on getting Aaron, because you do need Aaron to get to his Mythic Plus. Because the moment you get Aaron to Mythic Plus, he is able to cast his ultimate at the beginning of the battle. And you know already, like if the enemy get grouped up at the beginning of the battle, Dionel can kill them easily, Chechia can kill them easily the moment Chechia use her ultimate. And then every single AoE damage dealer like Temesia can deal AoE damage to them. And then a lot of like Laika, Parisa can deal insane amount of damage to the enemy who are grouped up. So you do want Aaron to reach his Mythic Plus as soon as possible, you know. So this is gonna be your wish list. And then for Graveborn, this is the first wish that you need to put here. Wish for Toran, wish for Igor. And the moment you get one copy of Igor, go back to Chechia here. Because for the most like 80% of the content, you only need one copy of Igor. He is already insanely strong in with just one copy. But if you can manage to get him to a higher copy, then his Mythic Plus skill reduce the enemy's healing received by 50%, by half. It is insanely strong in PvP in any content where the enemy have a ton of healer, especially against Damian, because Damian is going to be your most annoying healer in this entire game, because you cannot kill him. He can heal his allies you know, in the entire fight without refilling himself. So the only way to counter Damian is to reduce his healing. And the only heroes that can do that in here is Igor and Niru. And also this girl here, Satrana. And Satrana... oh no, Satrana is... yeah, Satrana reduce vitality. You know, what is it? Yes, this one. What is the number? Yes, she reduced vitality. And vitality, oh yeah, there's another tips that I want to tell you guys. This one. So if you do want to know like what those stats are meant, you can go to here to your hero list and click on the level. It will show you the stats of that heroes, and you can see what does vitality do. Every point of vitality increases the effectiveness of the units receive shields and healing by 1%. This applies to self-heals. So you can imagine reducing the enemy vitality means that reducing the shield that they receive and reducing the healing that they receive. So Satrana is another underrated heroes, because Satrana is actually insanely useful in late game, while at the same time Satrana deals percentage HP damage. And if you've seen me playing this slide, you know how much I love percentage HP damage, because the stronger the enemy is, the stronger you're gonna deal more damage to them. So in fact, if I fight against enemies 30 level above me, Satrana will deal more damage compared to my other DPS, because he deals percentage HP damage, and that's how strong Satrana is. And another heroes here that reduce vitality is this one, you know, Sylphina. But I'm currently testing out if Sylphina is able to reach like Mythic Plus and Supreme, then I will be able to get this bonus. But if it is too hard, then I would recommend very much for newer player to not wish for Sylphina and instead wish for Viperian and Niru here. You know, like I'm trying to get to here and see, because Sylphina is very situational. If you don't have her Mythic Plus here without her shield, she is very squeezy. The moment she jumps to the enemy backline, she is easily dead. So you do need her shield very much, and that's gonna be a long way for you to get here. So even if she already get a shield and it's not worth that much, then Viperian is still worth much for your wishlist here. So, but go back to the legendary first here. So Igor, one copy is enough, but if you can get Igor, this is what my friend is trying to aim for. The moment Igor is able to reach his Supreme here, Supreme level here, he is able to summon extra tomb at the beginning of the battle. And that means a tomb, if you know how Igor works, that if he has a tomb and he get hit and die, he will instead use the tomb and he becomes invulnerable, meaning that he is actually another Toran, having like multiple lives. But in his case, his life is depend on how many tombstone you can build in the entire fight. So if he has 5 tombstone, that means that he has 5 lives compared to Toran. And that's why I mentioned that Igor is a much stronger tank compared to Toran. But if you only have one Igor copy, then he needs time before he is able to get his tombstone out. Because the requirement for his tombstone is that enemy hero need to lose 40% of their HP first before Igor able to summon a tombstone. So you need to deal some damage to the enemy first before Igor become a Toran. So that's why, either Toran or Igor. Igor is a much better tank, but for Toran, he still has his use, because if he is able to reach his Mythic Plus here, he is able to split the damage between him and some other allies, and this is the best use of Toran. Instead of him being a single tank, you will be able to split the damage of your DPS with him, and that's why he is still worth quite some value if you able to get his copies. So I will give it to you back, whether you need Toran. Like, you can wish for Chechia and Igor, or you can wish for Toran and Igor, or you can wish for Toran and Chechia, but most of the time you do need a ton of copies of Chechia in here. So yeah, either Toran or Igor in here, it's up to you. Main nonton aja Vi, lebih seru lu just itu sambil RTA. Susah ini soalnya apa? Gua harus ngasih lihat ininya sih, wishlistnya. Nanti abis ini ya kita jelasin. So in here, first of all, I do recommend you to get these 2 copies here, Marile and Corin. Because Corin, you've already seen just now in Necro Dragon that he is insanely strong in a moving battle, and Marile is also, you're gonna need both of them in Necro Dragon. But I will say that Valen and Mirael is very, very underrated right now. Because the moment you get them to Mythic Plus, all of their normal attack become AoE damage, and that's what people never try it. Like, I would love very, very much if I can have a Mythic Plus Valen right now and Mythic Plus Mirael right now to prove that, every single attack that they do deal AoE damage, and that is an insane thing to do, because there are not many heroes here that can deal AoE damage. I'm gonna try to make this concise and explain a little bit faster, because we've already used up a lot of time, and that's the 2 wish lists that you need to go for, And then this one for the purple in the Mauler, Odie and Kruger, you need 1 copy of Kruger, and then obviously a ton of copies of Odie. And Kruger, once you get 1 copy of him, you can go for either Coco or Antandra. Because Coco, if you do get her to Mythic Plus, she is able to give shield after she absorbed the damage coming to her allies using her ultimate, and that will help really, really much in Dream Realm. And Antandra, I've already mentioned that she is an insanely strong tanker in both PvE and PvP content in the late game because of the damage reduction in here and the defense. And for Kruger, he actually able to tank by himself if you are able to get him to Mythic Plus and Supreme. So in a Dream Realm, if you are able to get Mythic Plus Kruger, that means that he can be a single solo tanker in that content. But the thing is that he needs to be a single alone tanker, like solo tanker, because if he has any allies in one tile around him, then he won't be able to get this Mythic Plus benefit skill here. So yeah, I haven't tried like how effective this is. Like, if in any case, like even after he get his Mythic Plus skill, he still needs another tank to be beside him, then you only need 1 copy of Kruger and you can just change to Coco and Antandra. Like, I'm currently testing it out, so I'm still wishing for a lot more Kruger copies in here. Now in here, I've already mentioned Damian, obviously insanely strong. Like a healer that cannot be killed is a stupid thing to have. But I'm currently testing with Parisa because I want to see how strong she is. Like because her Mythic Plus give a mark to enemy in a symmetrical position, so she actually can become a Sylvina, at Mythic Plus. She can target a backline enemy and use ultimate on that backline enemy, so she is actually gonna be insanely strong in Mythic Plus. And also she's a strong pair to be paired with Dionel. So that's why I'm trying her. But if you don't use Dionel and don't use Parisa, then obviously use Damian and Laika. And Laika is a must to have in your wishlist because her skill reduce the enemy's defense. Like look at this, reducing physical defense by 10% and this one reducing physical defense by 25%. So obviously there are not many heroes that can reduce the enemy's defense. So Laika is the best defense reduction aside from Kruger. So these two is going to be really strong in reducing the enemy's defense. I use also sometimes Laika in Dream Realm. So yeah, this is gonna be your wishlist. And here I've already explained the Sylvina thing, like if she doesn't really because she is very niche in her use, so if you don't really use her, Viperian is the strongest hero to use in guild battle. Like in the guild content, guild trial, that there are stages that have 5 enemies with unlimited HP, so Viperian is the strongest hero to use there because he will be able to deal damage every 3 seconds to those 5 enemies. If they comes in multiple waves, then he won't be able to deal damage to any of them because he needs to mark them at the beginning of the battle. So he needs all 5 enemies to never change. So he is the best option in guild trial and also PvP, because in PvP the enemy's 5 heroes will never ever change until they die. So that's why Viperian is insanely strong. And Niru, I've already mentioned, this Supreme thing is the only thing that can prevent the enemy from healing. And then the Mythic Plus also make him able to cast his ultimate at the beginning of the battle. Like there is nothing more frustrating than having a Niru and need to wait for him to cast his ultimate to prevent your weakest ally from dying. Now if you can manage to get him to Mythic Plus, you can control who will get his ultimate at the beginning of the battle, and that will change the entire gameplay you have. Imagine giving his skill to a tank, or imagine giving his skill to Chechia, or giving his skill to Dionel. Like all those heroes that can easily die, they now have 2 lives. It's just like making Toran out of every single heroes that you have. So that's the best wish list that you can put in your wish list. So that's my entire explanation. So yeah, I will end this thing with probably battle drills here. Let's just go. I haven't do this one. Oh, this is nice. We are currently facing a boss battle here. I do want to see contribution here. Yeah, let's just go battle. So let's see. We're gonna put all of those knowledge into practice. Like because this is a boss battle, obviously we're gonna bring our Kruger here, and then I'm also gonna bring Toran. Like both of them, Toran give this one. Where is it? This one. He also makes this target receive 13% more damage for the rest of the battle. So what you aim from Toran is that one. And then also Coco. Why? The reason why Coco is very popular is because of this one. Increasing their damage taken by 10% in the next 5 seconds. So yeah. These 3 are a must in boss battle, but because Toran is of a different faction, so sometimes you don't really want to use Toran and instead of using the same faction, because the bonus stat here, this is another explanation that I want to share with you. At the beginning of the game, percentage bonus in here doesn't really matter much because you do have a low stats to begin with, but the higher your level goes, the more this percentage matter. Because the more stats you have, the higher number this percentage is gonna give. So faction bonus will become insanely effective the higher your level is. So you do want to aim for the faction bonus instead of the ally skilling here. And Odi, obviously the strongest single target DPS damage dealer in here. And because there's no other enemies here, I don't think he can summon allies. Yeah. There is no allies to summon from here, so I do want Odi. And because Koko, if I do use this enlightening spell artifact, I will have trouble in survivability. So I do want another healer to be paired with me. So I do want to put Yuin in here. So let's just try with this lineup. Let's go. So let's see how much damage I deal. And it's kind of like overkill. I haven't tried this boss yet, so I don't know how much damage he deal. But I think Antandra is kind of like overkill. Like Antandra doesn't even have her health reduced. So I think it will be okay if I change Antandra into Thoran. The damage increase for the boss is going to be really helpful for me to deal more damage in here. But I can see that Yuin helps me a lot because Coco's heal alone is not enough to sustain my entire allies in here. Yeah, look at that. Even with Yuin right now, we are currently struggling in surviving. So yeah, that was a right choice to use Yuin here. So look at that. That is our knowledge being brought into action. So Odi and Kruger, obviously the two damage dealer that we have, and let's see the contribution here. Wow, yep, quite okay. And the highest one is actually 800,000 more power than me. So it's normal for that to happen. So yeah, now I don't have any energy for them. Now I need to create a new lineup. So I do want to give the damage increase from Thoran there, and because we are using Graveborn here, I do want to get a bonus from Graveborn. And aside from that, I think let's just put Graveborn last. I do want to make use of this one first. Yeah. So now this one, I'm gonna use this thing. Yeah, because I use that thing, I do want someone who can cast ultimate really fast. Well, let me see. Yeah, let's go with this one. Okay, so my damage dealer gonna be Fala in here. Hopefully she will be able to deal a high amount of damage. And I do want Parisa to buff normal attack damage for Fala so that Fala will get more damage. And Laika reducing the enemy's defense, also increasing our attack speed in general. Aaron is just there, like I use him for AoE battle, but right now because we are in boss battle and we only have this like heroes to choose, so I'm just gonna put him there for the faction bonus, and also Granny to tank in front. So hopefully this one will be able to. Oh yeah, we don't have a healer in here. I'm gonna rely on the artifact to heal my lineup in here, so let's just go. Ta-da! Oh no, Parisa gave it to Laika. Damn, too bad. Yeah, the one who received Parisa's normal attack buff is actually Laika just now. Doesn't matter, we're just gonna use this as a filler, like we don't have more than one team to be able to deal damage to a single target enemy. So I'm just gonna try to make the best out of the heroes that I already prepared beforehand here. Seru lu jelasin WA dia nih. Memang harusnya sih gitu. Tapi masalahnya gue nggak bisa ngasih tahu apa wishlist ya, karena kan hero-heronya nggak ada semua di situ gitu. Okay, so we won't be able to deal much damage in here. Yeah, it's gonna end really fast. Although I'm surprised, like we can last until 0 seconds in here, even though we only have Aaron to survive. Like look at see here, like Aaron can survive really long. Yep. Quite okay, quite an even number of damage. Okay. First battle again. I'm gonna use the remaining allies in here.
Anyone up
Let's go.
for a drink?
So, yeah, we don't really have any choice in here. Yeah, let's just deal as much damage as we can in the least amount of time. I'm gonna use the healing, like, because we don't have a healer in here. So let's just go. Yeah, this is also my strategy, you know. Like, instead of bringing a healer in every single lineup you have, it's much more effective to just bring all DPS. You know, sometimes, most of the time, that's the thing that you need to clear the AFK stage content. Because killing the enemy before they are able to use their ultimate proves to be a lot more effective than, you know, prolonging the battle. Because a lot of the time, there are a lot of heroes here that relies a lot on their ultimate. So you don't really want them to be able to cast their ultimate. So just kill them before they kill you. That is the best strategy a lot of the time in every single RPG game. 4 DPS, 1 tank.
Bow before the king.
Okay, look at that. Still, even as a single target damage, like against a single target damage, Dionel deal more damage than Chechia. You can already see here. And I didn't use the artifact that increased the attack speed of my Dionel. So you know, like compared to Chechia, how much damage Dionel can deal, far higher than Chechia, you know, so you can compare in here. And that's probably gonna help you in decide whether you need Dionel or it's enough with just your Chechia. You know, if you think that your AFK stage is alright with your Chechia, like if you are able to get lucky and get Mythic plus Chechia, you probably want to try Rainer, so it's gonna help you in Dream Realm and probably in PvP. And because Dream Realm, sometimes you cannot really use Chechia in some of the bosses there. And Rainer gonna deal the similar damage to Dionel, but in a single target damage. So, yep, that's the guild battle. So contribution quite alright. I don't deal much damage on the second and the third team. Yep. So obviously that guy specialized in killing bosses there. And let's grab these. And then let's open the chest. So for the chest, if you are a free-to-play player, always use the Adventurous Treasure, because the Adventurous Treasure give you a chance of, all these things, you know. And as a free-to-play player, it is much more beneficial to get this compared to this one. This one is mostly gonna be for pay-to-win players. Because you do need this one guild medal, and you can trade your guild medal for this one. What is it? Wait, where is the M14? Yeah, this one. This one. You do want the guild medal to trade into your light and dark, because they are obviously so much OP compared to the other heroes in this game. So yeah, just aim for that one. Hey, so what other content that we haven't do in here? Yeah, I think that's it. So I think that's all the time we have for tonight, guys. So yeah, hopefully all this information gonna be useful for you, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.